Morning, welcome back. Well, thanks for joining us again.
Morning.
If you remember last week, we're just finishing the market. We've got to get above the lock now to try and get some work done on the engine. We were just down there.
Can you just hold this rope? Why are you doing that?
And we've managed to drag it back to where we are now. Well, we've come up against a boat, and then there's a few boats after that. So we've had to start the engine. Now it's cool, the engine's cool, and we're going to try and reverse it. She will not reverse very well without bow thrusters. So I don't know how well this is going to go. But we're going to find out. There's a bit of a breeze picking up, and it happens to be coming from behind me, so it just wants to keep blowing the boat across the canal. So yeah, this is going to be interesting, but we need to do it quickly and then get the engine turned off so she doesn't overheat again. So right, are you ready?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Right, let's get cracking.
Just being pulled past the oatcake boat at the moment. Oh, we had a lovely oatcake from them yesterday. We've made it to the lock. I think we're just over halfway, are we, Gareth?
Yeah, probably halfway now.
Happy days.
It took us what, about an hour to get here?
Do you want to go on a tractor?
Is that, oh, there's a boat coming as well.
We managed to do the lock, and we're just coming out of the lock now. Right, you might be able to see there's a white signpost there. That's the junction. We've made it back. It's two hours, and probably a total of 10 people in total. To help at various points in time to get past all the moored boats and through the lock, but we've made it. So the water point is more or less where that finger post is, so we're gonna empty everything out here. We might be able to flush the tank out here as well. I've got a submersible pump that we might be able to use, and that's going to give me some really good pressure. So any blockage, that's really going to blast it out. So I might do that, use the canal water, blast that through, and then that can go back out over the side. And then we'll go over onto the water point, and then I can flush it out with some clean water, make sure there's no bits of sediment or anything left in. And then, yeah, fill it up. And hopefully that's it. I'm only going to fill it with cold water for now, and we'll run that up, run the engine up and see whether that works. And if we've solved the problem and everything's hunky-dory, I'll then drain some water off, and then we'll put some coolant in, and that will mix through as the engine's running. But at least if I've not put coolant in and I have to dismantle things again, I've not wasted all that money on coolant. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm just going to have a minute and a brew now, and then we'll probably make a start emptying the engine bay and making a good go of it. Right, time to crack on. Right, also, incidentally, people have been asking about the 5G and the aerial and things like that. Well, we've got the aerial up, we're pointing in the right kind of area for the mast. We are in a 5G area. So I'm going to run a test and see what we can get. So let's do that now. We've got good internet. Without a bit of tweaking, we have got... Will you stop kicking that while I'm recording?
Who knows what me, love?
There we go, what we got? We got 187.1 megabytes download speed, 4.85 up there, and it says it's very fast. That's without doing a lot of tweaking, so that'll do me. Happy days. Well, just a bit of a update. So we've not put it on camera because it's just been a bit chaotic, and I don't know if you can tell, but the steps wet through. It's throwing it down outside. Everything is saturated. But what have we done? Well, we've took the pipes off the tank, and we've dropped all the coolant out of the skin tank and out of the whole cooling system. We flushed the skin tank out with some fresh water. That's coming out nice and clean. We didn't see any debris or sludge coming out in the water, but then the force of the water may have, you know, dispersed it and it come out in sediment, not necessarily in loads of thick sludge. And I mean, at the end of all this, it could just still be more airlocks. We don't know. Or something completely different. So while that was done, let's see if we can get this on camera. This here, this whole thing is the water pump, and inside that there is the thermostat. So while all the coolant was out, I've took the thermostat out, we've put that in a pan of water, and the thermostat is working fine. So we've seen that open and shut. We took the belts off the water pump has got no play on it whatsoever, and when you spin it by hand, it's lovely and smooth. There's no grinding noises, and like I said, there's no play, there's no wobble on it. So I think the pump's fine, and I think the thermostat's fine. Put a new gasket in that, which cost me a whole £1.20. And we've reconnected everything, and we are now just slowly filling up, which is the most tedious job I have ever done on this boat, isn't it, Lee?
Yeah, we're up to about what, 110, 120 litres?
Yeah, we didn't bother taking the boat back that way because it was raining, it's been busy, so we've had buckets and we've been walking it over to the tap, filling up. We managed to get about, I don't know, 70, 80 litres out of the buckets in. And on the top of the thermostat there's a little bleed there, so we've bled it off there until water came out there. Now we've just got to fill the block, and there is so much water going in here, it is unreal. And all we can do is put it in by a jug. And we're just going to do that until the water gets to the level that we're at and stays there, and then we can do the next part. We haven't put coolant in yet, and we've spoke to the guys over at Anglo Welsh and they agree, just in case we have to drop everything again, we don't want to waste coolant. So we're going to do this. The plan, I think this is just going to take all night, really, and then Once we're at that point, apparently what we need to do then is start the engine. That will then force things around a bit. It might drop, we've topped that up. And wiggle all the pipes, try and get rid of any airlocks, move some airlocks along. After a couple of minutes, if everything's looking alright, give it some blasts or of revs. That will help push the air along, but not to leave it on apparently, because that will then just start cavitating it around. So a little blust to put a blust to push the air along apparently. And once we're happy that that's level, we're good to go. We have to keep an eye on the temperature. If it starts going over, we've probably still got airlocks and we need to try and get the air out the system. But once we're happy that it's holding the temperature that it needs to be holding and it's steady, then we just keep a check on it. But he's told us that topping it up and just keep it going could take days. In fact, he even mentioned that it might get like a week or two down the line and we might still be topping it up. But we have to make sure that the engine temperature is right. But the engineers here think that we're doing the right thing, so that's a start, isn't it? But I mean, we started this job. What time did we start? About midday?
About 11:30.
Yeah. And it's now 5:20. I mean, we did record the Cheeky Tuesday as well. But yeah, the majority of this time has just been filling the engine back up with water. So Lou is now on top-up duty because I need to go and make a shoulder windlass that's being collected tomorrow. So at 5:20, I'm off into the workshop. Lou's gonna keep topping this up and make some tea. And hopefully at some point we'll be able to sit down and relax. But at the moment it doesn't look like we're going to get to run the engine today. And the other thing is that once we know that this is right and the engine's right, we have to then take about 20 litres of water out of here and add 20 litres of coolant back into it. So we've still got all that yet to go. So
The joys. Get a boat, they said. It'll be fun, they said. I have no idea who said that.
you love it, really?
Yeah, of course I do.
Right. We were supposed to be trading today. We traded yesterday and it was awful.
Bobbins.
Yeah, bobbins with a capital B. We made a grand total of £33.
Ooh, that'll fix
So, you know, it's not always great trading, is it?
No.
But in the meantime, what we haven't filmed... Sorry, I'm stood right next to the birds, so they're chirping away. So in the meantime, what we've done is I've emptied out the cooling tanks and I've flushed them all out and we've put everything back together, filled it all back up, and ran the engine, and it didn't do anything. It still is playing up. So I took the thermostat out and I've put that in a pan of water and the thermostat opened. So we put that back and the pump seemed fine. But then the other day what we did is we took the thermostat out and we ran the engine up, didn't we?
Yeah.
And
Sorry, guys.
she's doing a diamond
I need to get
dazzle
this
thing.
finished because it's doing me head in. I need to get it done.
So we took the thermostat out and I ran the engine without the thermostat in, and I couldn't get the engine to 50 degrees. Just couldn't get the engine warm at all. But the engine didn't overheat. And then we put the thermostat back in and we ran the engine again yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
And she overheated. Not majorly overheat, but she starts running hotter than normal. So we're starting to think, well, without the thermostat in, she was running cool. With the thermostat in, she's running up warm. Maybe the thermostat isn't opening enough to let enough water through to cool. We've had an engineer down because we bit the bullet, didn't we?
Yeah.
We was a bit perplexed. We didn't know what to do. And an engineer came down and said, your cylinder head's gone. That's it. It'll cost you over £1,000 for it get repaired because it all has to be skimmed. We have to take everything away and we have to skim everything. But then wasn't convinced that it was the cylinder head. So after that we weren't really sure what it was, were we?
No.
We were no better off really. But he did settle our mind a little bit.
You're the one that's stressing and not sleeping, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I've got to the point now where I'm not sleeping. And worrying and stressing because if it is the cylinder head that's gone, one, we don't have thousands of pounds to get it repaired, and if the cylinder head is gone beyond all repair, then we could be looking at a new engine.
And we don't have that kind of money.
We just don't have that kind of money for a new engine. We're looking around £7,500, £8,000 for a new engine, and we just don't have that. So yeah, we could be in a bad way. So I've not been sleeping, have I?
No.
My stress, my anxiety is through the roof, and it's not been good. But we figured what we'll do is we'll try a quick cheap fix and put a new thermostat in. So we've been over to Anglo Welsh, and Anglo Welsh had a thermostat that looks like it's the same type of thing. But it opens at 82 degrees, not 88 degrees like the other one, so that can only be better as well. So this afternoon, because we're not trading, because this morning we woke up and it was throwing it down, and it didn't really improve till just after lunchtime, so we figured there's no point setting up now. Yeah, and Lou has got a bad belly at the moment again. So this afternoon we're going to fit a new thermostat and we're going to run the engine up and just keep everything crossed that this works. Because if this works, then the 2023 trading season is back on. If it doesn't work, then we may not be trading for the rest of the year.
Cry.
Yeah. Yeah, that it could be the end. I don't know. I don't know what it'll do.
What we'll do.
So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But for now, let's fit a thermostat.
Keep positive.
So, we're in the engine bay. If you can hear a generator going, that's the guys behind us. They're trading doing jacket potatoes. So I think that might be a bit of lunch or something mid-afternoon, Lou, maybe.
We've got a pork pie that our friend brought.
Oh, or maybe pork pie. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, we're in the engine bay, and I thought, for those who don't know, because up until now I didn't know, so I thought I'd just document it. Might be useful to someone out there in future. That is a thermostat, and basically when it's in that shut position like that, the water can only circulate around the engine and maybe to your calorifier, things like that, and the engine gets warm quick, heats your oil up quicker so it can lubricate and protect your engine when it's cold. When the engine gets hot, this bottom part here opens downwards, and this all opens up, and then water can flow through this top part, and that's what then goes off round to your skin tank and keeps the engine cool. And we think ours is only opening part way, and that's the problem. It's not letting enough water through to cool it. Down here, let's have a look. So down here we've got the alternator belt, and this is the water pump and all the associated pipes going to and from it, and this is the thermostat housing. So I've got to take this pipe off, undo those two bolts, and then we can lift that off. This will lift out, drop the other one in, make sure the gasket's there, tighten the bolts, put the pipe back on, fire the engine up. It really is as simple as that. Just got to make sure that the coolant, we don't lose too much coolant. We might have to just top up again, but it really is as simple as that. And that on the top is like an air bleed, so we can undo that when you're filling the system, and you can bleed the air out of that. Well, that goes off then to the expansion tank over there, and then that air will bleed through that. But that's all we've got to do. It really is a simple 10-minute fix. So if this does it, I'll be gutted that it's just a 10-minute fix and a £20 part.
but I will be so ecstatic if the engine is back up and running. I can't tell you how nervous and anxious I am about doing this job. Right, I'll report back when I've done it. Right, we've lost some coolant, so we'll fill the coolant up, but I'm going to fill it through that hose. That goes direct to the skin tank, so we'll top that back up that way. Then we'll check the level in the header tank, and that's pretty much done. That's changed over. But you can see that's the one that's come out, and it's looking a bit manky with like dirty, rusty kind of water and whatnot, so maybe that isn't in the best condition, but you know, we shall see how we go. Now. And that's it. Coolant level is okay in the header tank. We're good to fire up and see how we go.